Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Mangalore Chemicals and Fertilizers Limited and SKP Securities, it is my pleasure to welcome you to MCFL's Q3 FY22 earnings webinar. All participant lines are in mute mode. There will be an opportunity for you to ask questions when the Q&A session is started. Please note this virtual meeting is being recorded for compliance reasons. We have with us Mr. Suprabrata Saha, Managing Director, and Mr. T.M. Muralidharan, CFO. We'll have the opening remarks from Mr. Saha, following which we'll open the floor for Q&A. Over to you, Mr. Saha.
Thank you, Naveen. Thanks everyone for joining in on this call today. So a couple of things that I would like to state before we take up the presentation, which will be completed by our CFO, Mr. Muralidharan. Continuing on what I had said last time to a few who had joined in, is that we will continue to work on execution excellence on the ammonia energy improvement program, which is core to our margins as we go forward. I have to say this, that work is in full swing and is continuing as per plan. The team and myself personally have visited some of our key suppliers to ensure and mitigate any risk that may arise out of COVID or anything else, including tier 1, tier 2 suppliers checks with the core manufacturers. The second area is the fact that we have lived through and living through challenging times as far as commodity cycle is concerned. The domestic fertilizer stocks, especially the key ones, have been low. The government policy in terms of providing support has been there. The imports have not been viable for obvious reasons, both in terms of prices as well as availability. And for us, urea has done a bit of lifting for us. And hence, the core task for the team has been to ensure some degree of stability in the volatile times that we are living through. The third area clearly is to make sure that in these times, keeping a tight leash on costs, particularly fixed variable costs and interest costs, etc. Going forward, our task in this quarter would be to make sure that we work with FAI and DOF to ensure that the necessary supports are made available during this period, and also attend to what could be the new NBS policy going ahead. The second one is to kind of look at how the global demand, particularly of DAP, pans out, and the supply from Russia, China, etc., works out as we go forward. The third one is to obviously keep looking at options beyond our ammonia energy improvement project. Thank you for listening in for this short set of remarks before I now move on to requesting Mr. Muralidharan, the CFO, to make the presentation.
The recording has stopped. This meeting is being recorded.
Thank you, sir. Can I share the screen with the...
Yes, Mr. Muralidharan, you can share your screen.
Yeah. Is it visible now?
No, not yet.
Please confirm the moment you're able to see the screen. Is it visible now?
Not yet, Mr. Muralidharan. Yeah, now we can see it.
Yeah. Sorry for the small inconvenience to start. This is the presentation. We welcome all of you to this Q3 earnings webinar of MCFL. So we made some small presentations so that we're able to get more insight into the results than the information what we publish in the SEBI results this week, Tuesday. This is a disclaimer on the webinar. Okay, as a part of our protocol, we are doing this. We'll be covering this presentation in 3 parts. One is the highlights of the quarter and also 9 months ended December 2021. Then we got an FA award, okay, and also past annual performance for reference. Now we move on to the highlights. You see this is a picture of our aerial view of our factory. From the factory, we could even see the port opposite. Just to get for some of the investors who have not seen the place, our facility, also the infrastructure what we have. Just for the purposes, we put this photograph. So this is the overview. This is first year of urea production on gas. As all of you will be tracking our developments, we got the gas in December 2020. The last year it was operation for 4 months. This year is a full year operations. That is the big highlight for the 9 months and the full year. As our MD has given the brief, we done the financial closure, and we have the project work is in progress, and we are able to draw our debt to execute this project, ammonia energy input project. It's a very prestigious project, and we are on a very full focus to ensure that we commission the project ASAP. In respect of the DAP and NPK, so you know that this is a year of super cycle in terms of commodity prices. So we had our own challenges, and with the government support and subsidy, we were able to manage this spiraling international prices of critical raw materials and the challenge of even getting the availability of the materials. Okay, and these are the operations. Coming to the liquidity, we have healthy liquidity. The government of India has continued its support to the industry. In FY21 Q4, the government came with a package to clear all the old outstanding, and that has been still continued. And that is because, so the healthy, we have a liquidity, and obviously resultant, you can see that lower finance cost, the results. Okay, the last one is FI award. We got the award for Environment Protection Award for this nitrogen, which we'll cover when we go to the subsequent slides. Okay. So with this, I move into just as an overview of the critical overview of the operations for the quarter as well as for 9 months. I move on to the specific numbers. Okay. You will see that the revenue from operations for the quarter was 762 crores as against 327 crores comparison with the last financial year. The obvious reason, as I explained to you just briefly. So we were standing in Q3 last year for 2 months for switchover of the feedstock from naphtha to gas. We need to change the catalyst, some other commissioning protocols we need to complete before we started the operations in December 2020. That is the reason you could see there's a swing in the revenue top line at 762 crores, we saw 327 crores. And if we compare for the 9 months period, our turnover is 2,177 crores against 1,500 crores. And here again, there are two components. There is an increase in the volumes as well as the commodity price rally. That has also contributed to this particular growth in revenue operations. Now I move on to EBITDA. For the quarter, we have posted an impressive 37% growth of 41 crores in EBITDA growth. Coming to the 9 months operations, is 181 crores to vis-a-vis 203 crores. It may appear to be the growth is not in line with the growth in Q3. I want to highlight to the investors or the shareholders. See, in the Q4 FY21, we are reversing income which we recognize, which is part of 181 crores or 27 crores. If you factor this 27 crores out of this 181 crores, the real EBITDA and comparable EBITDA, if I use the word, would be is 154 crores vis-a-vis 203 crores. We see a growth of 32%. Okay, so this we achieved mainly on account of the urea volumes and also the decent margins we're able to get out of the urea, and also the gas operations we are able to get this. Okay, this we posted a growth in EBITDA as such 9 months operations despite the pressures on challenges we had on the complex margins. And I move on to the PAT. So PAT has gone up significantly from 52 crores of 9 months comparisons to 84 crores. This is obviously, you could see the benefit of finance costs is translating into PAT. Okay, that's reason from the EBITDA growth, the PAT growth is far superior. And obviously, the cash, our profit also, the growth is 45% for the 9 months period. Okay, and it's 3 months period is not comparable. That's just I'm skipping and move on to the 9 months 9 month period. So that will be easier to it's not the skewing of the quarter is adjusted in the 9 months results. Okay. So with this a brief and introduction, I move on to subsequent slides. Just to give a snapshot of our production and sales of urea and the non-urea, that is P&K fertilizers. You could see that quarter on quarter, you could see that the urea sales is improved from 26,000 tons to 1,13,000 tons. As I briefly earlier also, we did on account of these 2 months of operations not there last year. And cumulative 9 months period, if you see, we have sold 3.38 lakh tons. We saw 2.37 lakh tons, which is close to about 1 lakh tons. Additionally, we have sold in urea. Coming to the P&K, you would see that there are 3 components we have: the sale of DAP, the NPKs, and the MOP sales. You could see for 9 months period, last year it was 2.29 lakh tons we have sold. This year we are taking 2.37 tons. Almost we have kept the same volumes levels. There's no challenges in P&K. When challenges mean only on margins. Okay. Revenue from operations, you could see between the breakup between P&K and urea, you could see that, okay, for the 9 months period and Q3 also. So this is just to get an update on how your company has performed in terms of production and sales in urea as well as in P&K fertilizers. I move on to next slide. This is the shareholder funds and debt and surplus funds. Sorry. You could see the growth in total shareholders funds from 500 crores in end of December 2020 to the growth of March 21 at 607 crores. Now currently we are at 79 crores. Coming to the debt and surplus funds, you could see the significant reduction in significant reduction in short-term surplus. We have replaced the short-term surplus, which we got it in the Q4 disbursement out of subsidy by Government of India. So from 402 crores, we have brought it down to 140. So they efficiently are able to apply the cash, leaving the cash to the minimum requirements need. And if you see the short-term debt also has come down from 913 crores to 735 crores end of March 21. Now it is hovering around 800 crores. Your term debt is also at, it was originally at 148 crores. It came down to 127 crores in March 21, purely as per the repayment schedule. It has grown into another 40 crores to 169 crores end of the 21. It is nothing but on account of the debt we are drawing for executing the energy improvement project. Okay, this is as per the plan and as per the requirements of what I call the project payments. We are drawing the funds and we're keeping a close watch on the utilization so that we're able to optimize the cost of borrowings. Coming to the receivables front, you could see that significantly we had a hang on the market because of the huge demand in the market due to the what I call supply constraints in DAP and other, and the urea always what I call is a king. Okay, so you'll find that market debtors have come down significantly from the levels of 180 crores in December 2020. The same levels it was at March 21. It has come down to significant 106 crores. Kindly note that this receivable reduction is despite on account of the increase in turnover on account of commodity price. Still, we are able to maintain this what we call our head grip on receivables. And then we want to discuss about the subsidy receivables. Subsidy receivables has come down from 83 crores in December 2020 to 325 crores in March 21. But there is a build-up from March 21 to December 21. There's no cause of worry because purely it's on account of the increase in the prices, commodity prices. The number of days, if you, per se, if you see, okay, they are very much there's a reduction in the number of days if you factor in the days. In fact, if you see December 20, it was 145 days, and it is only 102 days. I'm talking about subsidy debtors. So, and any of this small what I call build-up also will be cleared by March 2000, by end of March. And we are got the first year of operations in gas. There are some formalities to get some of the approvals into the place to get the subsidy, or to call escalation in the prices of feedstock of urea. This is progressing very well, and we will be able to achieve this by March 21 reduction, significant reduction in this subsidy receivables as well. It is no cause of worry. It is not on account of any government's thinking or rethinking on what I call disbursement. It is purely on administrative issues. Then I move on to this award. I request MD to chip in to few offer his comments on this.
Yeah, thanks, Modi. I think this is a very prestigious award, and after the receipt of gas, the particulate matter quantum has come down quite significantly, and particularly the SOx, which is sulfur dioxide area. The other is that all our stacks, whether it's a DAP stack, urea prill tar, CPP, which is the power plant or the reformer or the boiler, all of the stacks are online with the Ministry of Environment. So in terms of our proactive attempt to make sure that we protect the environment, as also to make sure that these specific investments are made to ensure that our responsibility towards the environment is protected, this award is a testimony to that direction. Thanks, Murli. Move ahead.
Thank you, sir. Just some few statistics for our easy reference. So past annual performance. This is the data on revenue from top line. So from FY19 to 21, you could see the journey of revenue. Revenue seems to be the drop, not necessarily it's a small amount of volumes, but more so on account of the low prices. So the dip happened in FY21. Okay, that is where all the prices are relatively low, and the entire rally of and build up started happening the current financial year FY22. And you could see that still we kept the EBITDA growth from 200 crores to 227 crores to 230 crores. So EBITDA as a percentage of top line was very healthy. It's growing at 6.5%, 8%, and 1% in FY21. Then the PBT is able to, you could see that growth from 50 crores to 70 crores to 106 crores. And PBT as a percentage of turnover, you could see from 1.6% in FY19 to 2.5% to about 5% we achieved in FY21. And similarly, you could see translate into a PAT at about 1% in FY19 to 2% and 3% in FY21. So this is the what I call you are able to journey of us slowly. We are able to after the success factor comes from the gas received gas conversion project, which has happened in last year, part of the year 4 months, and this year we are getting a full year impact benefit. And going forward, after we execute this energy input project, further what I call story we will be able to build on. Then I move on to the last data, this cash profit growth of from 76 crores to 136 crores, and EP is obviously factor of profitability reported. And one last information on the receivables, you could see from the market data, FY19 449 crores to 339 crores to 184 crores. Very significantly, we put our efforts to what I call to reduce the. There were some challenges in 18-19 on account of the market was not very great. Okay, so and this monsoon was not very great in all the areas that we operate. And that has also now, like the third year in succession, we got a good rains. So that it will translate into forms and very quality of the data is very good. And also subsidiary data, you could see from 1,100 crores, the same levels in effect 1920, we are able to bring down to 325 crores, purely on account of the support given by government. And the further support government is extended to the current financial year. The receivables are being received on due dates. And going forward also next year also the allocation has been given, albeit compared to the original estimate of FY22 from 70,000 crores, there is 80,000 crores levels they given to 106,000 crores. Okay, still that it may appear to be less compared to the total revised budget estimate, but government has been always pitching in and what you call topping up the what you call subsidy requirements, so that this industry is kept very healthy. That what we could hear loud and clear from our interactions with the various officials in the Department of Fertilizers. And this is the snapshot of this production and sales. As all of you will be aware of this, our capacity to manufacture is 3.8 lakh tons. So in FY19, we have the FY18 we produced more by taking approval. So that is in FY19 is subdued levels. You could see FY18, 2020 we achieved 3.8 lakh tons. There is a capacity. FY21 we lost 2 months operations on account of this gas conversion, and this year we'll be making up that also as a process. And the P&K fertilizers, we are able to sell about 5 lakh tons, 4 lakh tons, 3 lakh tons. There could be a small, what I call reduction in volumes purely on account of the, we were trying to rationalize based on margins, allocate the capital efficiently, so that despite the reduction in volumes to some extent, we are able to improve our EBITDA and so that we are able to allocate capital efficiently based on the margin analysis. Okay. And that is the snapshot of this production and of urea and P&K. And one last slide I'll take, then I'll hand over to for a Q&A. This is a small brief of what we are where we operate, okay, what we do. Okay. So we could see our factories in in the West Coast, in the coast in Mangalore. So our plant is situated at the Mangalore West Coast, with bang opposite Mangalore port. Advantages of port-based location, vicinity to the port, and the closeness to the port, all benefits accrue to us. Number one, coming to the capacities we discussed already. So we have capacity to manufacture, approved capacity to manufacture 3.8 lakh tons, and we have facility to capacity to top up by another 50,000 tons more. And DAP we have capacity to manufacture 2.85 lakh tons, and we also do trading of MOP, that is potash, and also DAP. The territories where we operate is Karnataka, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Andhra, Telangana, Maharashtra. We are given, whereas our concentration, we are given percentages, so that we get clarity. There we can see the dependency on our marketing. And all of us by this time very well versed with our brand. Our brand is JK Mangalore. That is the Kalasha, what we carry as the brand, that also given. So this is you get an idea of what we are, okay, and what products, where we are situated, where we operate. So that it gets a wholesome understanding of this business it's in a single slide, okay. And you could see the map also where we operate in the regional marketing offices, where we operate. So you could see Hassan, Bangalore, Coimbatore, okay, Kurnool, Bellary. Depending upon the demand, and we are able to move our products efficiently and maintain our efficiency, the cost optimization. Okay. With this, I would like to wind up my presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Muralidharan. We'll now open the floor for the Q&A session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question, kindly raise your hand. We'll unmute you and take your question. Okay, the first question is from Madhav Marga from Fidelity International. Madhav, please go ahead.
Yeah, hi, sir. Good evening. Thanks again for your time. I actually wanted to ask you that, with the rise in gas prices, subsidy per ton also would have moved up for the fertilizers, especially urea. Could you help us understand, has the government been paying on time, or considering, they did increase the allocation as well in the budget? And firstly, was that extra allocation sufficient for this year? And also, has the money been coming on time so far? Thank you.
Yeah, Madhav, the payment has been coming on time, and only some challenges we had due to the corona challenges. You know that 50% of the people are infected in Delhi. Now only things are slowly limping up. And even the remaining 50% work on 50% only. Okay, the 20% only people are coming. That has little bit put us in a study, a little bit of a slag in between during the core journey of the year. But we are getting, as and when these bills are due for payment, we are getting the payment. And government, the extra allocation has come from the supplementary grant, as you are aware. And we don't foresee any challenges in getting these subsidies. And any small leftover will be just paid immediately. And in April, when we start the new budget allocation for FY23 is already being the process of setting up. And immediately, even if suppose small carryover, we carry a baggage, that will be immediately paid. That experience in the month of April, we get all the monies also. Okay. So to summarize and give you, yes, the subsidy per se burden will be on urea. And we are not having any challenges at all, and there's no company-specific problems and also industry-specific problems as of today.
Okay, and also the allocation that they've made for FY23, they have lowered the allocation a little bit. So is it because the government is assuming that raw material prices will cool off from the very high levels right now? Is that basically the assumption? And in case these raw material prices stay higher for a longer time period, they will increase the allocation once again? Do we expect that to happen?
Hi, Madhav. You have to look at it in perspective. When the budget was done for last year versus what ended up is a story that all of us know, right?
Yes.
And with the stocks being at such a low level, it makes a lot of sense for government to encourage domestic participation in making sure that the shoring up of stocks is done. And so on and so forth. As you mentioned, I cannot say what the government would do as we go forward. None of us can say that, but I think it will be an important thing to keep watching on account of that. The important thing here is to look at whether the government opens up the pricing and decontrol it from where they are today. I think that will help a lot and let market forces take over. I think we would be looking more from that perspective.
Decontrol is on the non-urea side only, right? The decontrol.
I'm talking to the non-urea side, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Got it. Okay, I'll come back in the queue. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Madhav. We have a question from Chirag Shah. Chirag, please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Can you hear me?
Chirag, I think your voice is a little cracked. If you can.
Okay. Can you now hear me?
We can hear you. There's a network issue, I believe. If you can just move to a better place where the connectivity would be.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. First of all, thank you for hosting the call and really appreciate that to the management. I have a couple of questions. Sir, so we shifted from naphtha to gas last year. So what is the energy efficiency as of now currently? And we are also doing this ammonia improvement project. And so what will be the energy efficiency post that project? So that is the first question. And the second question was, sir, that I believe that since we shifted from naphtha to gas, the government also gives us a kind of reimburses some extra kind of incentive since we have shifted from naphtha to gas. Means they earmark from, I think, 6.5 Gcal to 7.5 Gcal just to for us to recover the money. And I believe that should have helped our margins.
I think he's trailed off.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll take another question before we come back.
Sure. We've got a question from one of the participants. Just give me a minute, please. He sent it on chat.
Chirag has come back.
Chirag, are you there?
Yeah, sorry, I think this is a network issue. There is some network issue, but
no problem.
Could you hear my questions?
Chirag, if you can repeat it, it'll be better.
Chirag, what we'll do is we'll cover the first part, which is to do with the energy norms and how the classification of energy norms are and where do we stand vis-a-vis the government numbers and what this will lead to as we go forward. Murli, can you help with the 7.35, the 6.25, the 5.5, and how does it all stack up as we go forward?
We will do that. Thank you, sir. Chirag, the most of the gas which we received in last year, same Q3 FY21, we will be eligible for a GCal at 7.356 per ton. Okay. And our current energy consumption is around about 6.25 to 6.3 levels. Okay. So that is what currently we are operating. First question, what part of the questions what we asked. Okay. So post commissioning the project. Okay. Is it clear to you? Are you able to hear me, Chirag?
Yeah, I'm able to hear. So you are saying that we are operating right at 7.25. Chirag,
your voice is breaking. Your network is terrible.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So you're saying that we are currently operating at 6.25.
Yes.
Okay.
6.25 to 6.3 because it's
not. I can hear you, sir. You can go ahead. I can hear you.
See, now it is 7.35 levels is what we are getting the additional subsidy from after the gas coming. And currently we are operating at 6.25 to 6.3 levels. So let's say 6.3 because it's very difficult to keep a control because of so many parameters go behind the consumption. So this is currently what we are operating, number one. Okay. And I could see Amitabh asking a question on when I quantify this particular benefit of this. We are getting about 60 crores per annum on account of this, what you call additional subsidy on account of getting the gas. And you should also appreciate that the last year itself, about 4 months operations in gas was there. Okay. So we already realized about 15-20 crores of an income last year itself. So this will be what I call, we'll be getting that differential, say 35 to 40 crores. We'll be getting it over a period of the 12 months. So that is the answer for Chirag also indirectly. And coming to the second part of the question of Chirag, our consumption will come down from 6.3 levels to 5.5 GCal after we commission the project. So this will, if you put a number around, it will be around every what I call about 100 crores EBITDA will generate. Obviously, we need to service your a debt of 280-300 crores will be rising for doing this project. And there will be obviously the depreciation is non-cash items. Nevertheless, on your report, so this will be the charge against that. Okay. So this is to get an overall view of a few questions what you asked. Chirag, I hope I answered all your questions.
Yeah, thank you. And can you hear me? Actually, am I clear?
Yeah, now it is better.
Yeah. So, in this quarter also, we had an operating margin of, I think so, 8.6% odd. So that includes this incentive from the government for shifting from naphtha to gas. Does it include?
Yeah, includes.
So, sir, then is it okay? So, is it fair to assume that once this improvement project is done and operationalized, then our margin should move to double digits?
Yeah, that's our
Or rather, the EBITDA per ton should move to double digits?
Yeah, it should improve. Okay, we have to wait and watch. Okay, how the prices move. Okay, so currently, see, even your question is correct. The current quarter also, last year same quarter also, we had a benefit for 1 month. Okay, so to some extent it was factored in last year also. So this month we had a full 3 months operations. So we got a factor in that. It should improve. Okay.
Okay. Sir, can you tell me what is the EBITDA per ton right now? In case of urea and in case of non-urea? Hello, can you hear me?
Hello, Chirag?
Yeah, can you hear me? I don't know what.
Yes, we can hear you. Chirag, please go. Chirag, we can hear you.
Yeah. Can you tell me what is the EBITDA per ton right now for urea and non-urea? Hello?
Yeah, I want once again. I don't have it right now with me. Okay, sorry.
Chirag, we'll get back to you.
Hello?
We'll get back to you, Chirag.
Okay.
Yeah, Amitabh, the question
just
1 second. Just let me answer that question that Amitabh has asked on the chat. It's about 280 crore for AEIP. That's the kind of debt. Yes, you're right, Amitabh. Thank you. Chirag, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I think so. Just wanted to summarize my thought process. So next year should be the big year for us, correct? If I'm right, because and when is this project getting operationalized? The energy efficiency program.
Yeah, Chirag, we expect that the energy efficiency commissioning should happen somewhere around June, July, right? Starting second quarter sometime, you should be in a position to see the benefits in part accruing from this.
From Q2 next year, we'll see that benefits.
Okay, and any expansion, sorry, this is the last question, but any capacity will also go up because of this energy efficiency, or we will be at 4 lakh tons for urea?
See, our RSE is 3,79,500. Our max capacity that we are allowed by the Department of Fertilizers is 4,29,000. Now, by doing this, we will get extra ammonia, which would be anywhere in the range of 600 to 800 tons. Now, that could be utilized in DAP and can also flow back into something else that we may want to produce. So that is the additional benefit that we will get apart from the EBITDA kicker that we spoke about of close to 100 crores.
Okay, so this is additional. This is apart from the 100 crores kicker.
Yes, you can say that.
Thank you for taking my questions and all the best. Thank you, and I look forward to these calls on a regular basis.
Sure, Chirag. Thank you so much for your questions.
Thank you, Chirag.
Thank you.
We have Hridesh Gandhi from Discovery Capital. Hridesh, please go ahead.
Hi. So just having a question, given the RM prices on the DAP side, how are we handling the pressure given the MRP has increased, and how are we thinking about that?
Yeah, Hridesh, it's a good question, and we are working very closely with the Department of Fertilizers. And I don't think it's a problem only specific to us, it's a problem of the industry. And we are very confident that the Department of Fertilizers, which has been making reasonable proactive measures to address the issues of the industry, will continue to do so between the fourth quarter. And we are also anticipating a more positive move when it comes to NBS and the recontrol of MRP.
Got it. Understood. So, and the other question is, how long is the incremental, this is subsidy applicable for the capex we've done for converting the plant to natural gas?
So, so this would be applicable until 2025. Right. So we are classified under the 7.356 category. And right now, as we mentioned earlier, it's about 6.25. We'll go down to the level of 5.5, which will be applicable to 2025.
Understood. And so if we were to quantify how much of this EBITDA which we earn will be applicable, so let's say either if we are looking at, say, Q3 or Q2 or, 9 months, however you would like to look at it. How much of the EBITDA would be attributable to the subsidy that's applicable only up to 25?
Murli, you want to take that number?
Yeah. See, Rajesh, normally this, as I told you before earlier also, it's about 60 crores on an annual basis. On a quarterly basis, you can take 15 crores. Okay. So that will be getting it on a quarterly basis till 2055. Okay.
Got this. About 60 crores extra is how much we'll get increment.
Yes.
Will go away in 25 and everything else remains. Got it.
Yes. Yeah. Correct.
All right. So, and just first, as we think about your next leg of growth, obviously you've got a reasonable low level of a leverage. Your free cash flows are reasonably good given the subsidies are coming in. How do we, what is the next area of expansion? Are we going to do, incremental, in a urea, DAP, actually complex fertilizer? How should we think about that?
Yeah. So, Hridesh, just to fill you in with a few things, I think our location is quite strategic. Okay. The port location is absolutely fantastic, and that obviously lends credence to the fact that we could do a fair amount of imports coming in as the prices become better. Right. So that's the first thing. The second one is the availability of land, and within the plant we have close to about 54 acres for expansion. What does that entail? Does it entail doing backward integration, improvement of margins and so on and so forth along those lines? The answer is yes. When we should do that, I think we should first look at commissioning this energy improvement program, doing it well, making sure that our debt reduction happens as per the timelines. Having said that, have we evaluated all the possibilities? Are we evaluating for any good company? It is important to continuously look at and evaluate those possibilities. We are, and we will continue to do so. Do we have the necessary government approvals like pollution and so on and so forth in place? For most of it, I think the company has been quite proactive in taking that. So I don't think we will waste too much of time if we have to get to where we have to get to. Does that help?
Yes, sir. That's helpful. So the other question is that, given the increase in gas prices, obviously that ultimately is a pass-through. But is there also an adjustment? The only impact will be higher, actually inventory alone, or working capital, or how should we look at any impact that we have?
I quite did not get some part of your question.
So I'm saying, given the increase in gas prices which have been announced recently, and potentially they're saying there may be another regulatory increase in prices happening from April onwards. All of that would be actually a pass-through, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
And it would effectively only impact the receivables if we have any from the government. Otherwise, we're not. That's the only impact. So
yeah, that is right.
Some amount of receivables, no working capital. Otherwise, there's almost like no impact yet.
Rajesh, good question. Rajesh, as you said correctly, it's a pass-through. Inventory only there because it is we don't what it's a gas. So only challenge you'll have only on this to some extent on the receivables. But that also is not in the same pattern we see a couple of years back. Now the last what called one full year you could see the subsidy receivables also good. But then the small called build-up on account of this because it's a process. You'll actually small build-up. That season you saw that in our presentation also from 300 crores levels to about 800 crores. This majorly on account of this build-up happening and the escalation in the what you call the fish stock price. You're right, 100%.
All right. So, and the other question was that, we've been reading some amount of press, and it was in the economic survey and stuff like that, about, wanting to move away from urea into, some other area, the nano urea or something. I mean, to be honest with you, I am not a technical person, so I don't know the exact nuances. But is there any noise on that which could ultimately impact urea? And the other comment along with that is also, given there are a whole host of plants that the government has been spoken about of resurrecting, which will then sort of make us from urea deficit to excess. Are there any potential sort of risks you see to any of this?
Ritesh, thanks for that question. I don't come from this fertilizer industry background. I'm happy that somebody is actually helping us to be completely up to date and up to speed with some interesting developments that are happening. Yes, you're right that there is a lot of talk centered around some of these aspects. How much will happen, when it will happen, and all of that is a big question mark because these are very large policy-based decisions. We've already, evinced and seen what can happen when we take reforms of this magnitude. I think some of these things will start slow, and especially the things that you mentioned, particularly the nano urea and so on and so forth. We all know that there is an uneven distribution in terms of nutrients in the soil, and because of the way the urea has been priced, obviously there are challenges in terms of more stable, more balanced nutrition. The government has been talking about many things, but these are not easy things to deliver and execute, right? So I would reserve my comments at this point in time about where this would eventually lead to. Are we cognizant of some of these changes? Would we be ready for some of these changes? I think the company on a continuous basis examines all of these possibilities and will do what is right for it to do. Don't want to engage right now on this particular conversation because there are many other conversations along these lines, including green urea, green ammonia, and some of these facets. So it's too early to make a call on this now.
And just a last question which I had was, at the group level, there's a reasonable amount of restructuring happening between, Suwari selling its plant and then effectively in turn the IPO and all of that. Is there any thought around how the end structure ends up being and how things end up looking? And if you could sort of update us on those issues and any impact on the pledges that are effectively on equity right now.
To be fair, it will be unfair for me to comment as the MD of MCFL, though I wear two hats, which is the hat of the Deputy CEO of the Agri Vertical. I have to only say this, that whatever we are doing and trying to do would be in interest of consumers and all stakeholders.
Right. So, because the only slight concern is that in the event that you decide to do anything with a combination, that could be a little bit challenging for us shareholders as well. So just saying to keep that in mind, that's all.
See, Ritesh, I don't wish to speculate on any one of these events because it is not right for me to do so. Second, whatever we've done and we have been doing so far have been in the domain of transparency.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much and appreciate all your help. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Ritesh. In case anyone has a question, request you to please raise your hand. We'll unmute you and take your question forward.
Hi, I had a follow-up. Can I go ahead?
Yeah, Ridesh. Was it Madhav? Madhav, please go ahead.
Thanks, sir. So my question was that our traded fertilizer, obviously volumes have come down because of all the volatility that's happening globally. But on the manufactured NPKs which we are making, like even if we cannot give a number broadly, have the margins held up, or has there been some bit of margin pressure here as well on the NPK portfolio? Where volumes have done relatively okay, even in a challenging year like this one.
I can only look at what will happen as we go ahead. The government has been quite positive in terms of its indications to ensure that the industry is not strapped in these difficult times, where the industry has stepped forward to ensure that they can build up whatever stock that they can build up using the domestic capacities. So I hope that the government will make sure that the industry's interests are kept in mind when you're asking this question.
Okay, got it. But sorry, I'm not sure if you already answered it, but did we face a fair bit of margin pressure on the manufactured portfolio this year, or did it hold up okay?
Let's face a fact, Madhav. The 1200 price of per bag of DAP is obviously not adequate, right?
Right.
Right. So and the prices of raw materials, particularly the phosphoric acid, has moved up quite significantly and does put some degree of pressure. I think, as I mentioned earlier, I think our job is to provide stability and volatility in the environment that we are living in. The reality is that urea has definitely held up and has done well for us. So I think the mix of both at this point in time is helping. And as we go forward, I think the Ammonia Energy Improvement Program kicker will certainly give some benefit, and hopefully by that time the global prices will cool off both in RM and FG, and that will provide some opportunity as we look upward.
Absolutely, yes, exactly. All right, thank you.
Thanks, Madhav. Okay, there's a question from Soumya Roy. Soumya, this was a question which had come up earlier. What is the EBITDA per ton for urea and non-urea business? Soumya, the number is not readily available. The management will get back to you on this. Meanwhile, in case someone has a question, please raise your hand and we'll take that. Ridesh Gandhi. Ridesh, please go ahead.
Just a small bit of follow-up. You guys also, I was reading, have some sort of specialty chemicals business also. Maybe if you could throw some light into what's happening there, what the plans are, etc., to give us some color on that.
Yeah, interesting. I think some our predecessors thought it wise to kind of pivot the P&L into certain prospect areas which kind of risk hedges the fertilizer business. We manufacture ABC, which is ammonium bicarbonate, which eventually goes into the biscuit industry by and large, and also sulfonated naphthalene formaldehyde SNF, which is a chemical compound which goes into construction industry. Right. And so in the south, we sell ABC. The largest market, of course, is in the north and in the east, where the unorganized biscuit industry is kind of located. As far as SNF is concerned, our product is very well accepted in the industry. And that's where we are. These are small businesses. Is there a possibility to grow these businesses? Are there new options available at low investments and so on and so forth as we go forward? We will continue to examine. We are examining and we will continue to examine the same.
Right now, you're saying it's small and there's no real, at least as of now, there's no plan to really scale that up.
Right now, I do not wish to comment upon whether we want to scale up or not. We are evaluating all options and opportunities, and I'll reiterate the fact that our current task is to execute the Ammonia Energy Improvement Program on time and execute it well so that we can get the benefits. While we do so, we are evaluating all possibilities.
All right. Thank you so much. Thanks. That's all.
Thank you, Ridesh. Anyone with a question, please raise your hand and we'll take it up.
Yeah, Naveen. Sorry, one more question.
Go ahead, Madhav.
Our tax rate is at 35%. Is there any timeline when it normalizes to the 25-26% range?
Mother will, Murli.
Yeah. Yes, Mother. Okay. So we will be able to utilize our existing carry forward credit entitlement, okay, by FY24. Okay. So that is why basing this energy project what we'll be executing. Okay. So FY24 we will be completing that entitlement credit. Then we'll switch over to the what you call new rate.
To 25%, right? Effectively.
Yeah, correct. It's effective 25%. Okay. If we start factoring in surcharge and other cess and all, if we add on, it'll be effectively 24 point, very close to 25%.
So FY24 is when we go to FY25, it goes down?
Yeah, it goes to 25%. It is from current levels of 36%, you know that. Okay.
Yeah, good. All right. Yeah, thanks.
Thanks, Mother. We have a question from Vineet Agrawal. Vineet, please go ahead.
So I have two questions. So how much subsidy we have received during 9 months this year as well as last year? If you can give that number.
The next one, and will the other one next question you have.
And sir, I know Q4 is a lenient quarter, but I just wanted to understand. I mean, how have we seen this January vis-a-vis last year in terms of volumes as well as pricing?
Come again, I'll get you. Second question.
You wanted to know the volumes for January?
Yeah.
January last year.
No, he's asking current year volumes. Or last year volumes.
The volumes and the pricing for Jan 22 vis-a-vis Jan 21.
Let me just take the volumes first. I think on the volume front, we have been quite active to make sure that urea continues to deliver, and we are going full throttle all the way through to the end of the year. So that's where we are as far as the volumes for urea are concerned. We will continue to do whatever is required as far as NPKs is concerned. And we will closely watch how the government also pans out as far as the subsidy support is concerned.
On the subsidy, first question you asked, the Vineet, we got subsidies about 800 crores we received, okay, in FY21, okay.
FY21.
Yeah.
And sir, can you tell me for 9 months FY22 vis-a-vis 9 months FY21?
Oh, that granular I not done it yet. Okay, I'll reach out to you. No problem. Okay. We'll reach out to you. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. That's all from me.
Anyone with a question, please raise your hand and we'll take it up. I guess most of the questions, or all of the questions exhausted. Mr. Saha, in case you have some closing remarks before you wind up.
No, thank you everyone for first joining in and asking some very wonderful questions. We believe that, as I've reiterated earlier, that we are on making sure that our ammonia energy improvement program is on track. And I hope that there are no external factors that impinge upon it as we go ahead. And we should be in a position to then execute it on time in June, July types. As far as the opportunities are concerned, we are seized of the same, both in terms of import possibilities as the requirement or global demand tapers off or raw materials come down and so on and so forth. If there is any opportunity, the company will very actively look at and do prudent allocation of capital there. And the third one, there have been some interesting questions centered around the usage of the land that is available with us and possible unlocking of the same either through backward integration or any other related projects. I once again would like to reiterate that we continuously evaluate all possibilities and examine them. And as time goes ahead, after the successful completion, we will look at whatever is the best trade-off at that point in time. We will continue to keep a tight leash on costs, both variable and fixed costs, and also ensure that the interest costs are kept under tight control. We also anticipate and hope that as we go ahead with the successful completion, some of these things will also drive down our cost side. I thank you all. Stay safe. Thank you. Vineet wanted to have a question, I thought.
Friends, in case there are any follow-up questions, please feel free to reach out to us and we'll take them to the management. Now, on behalf of all of us at SKP, thank you very much, Mr. Saha, Mr. Muralidharan, and Mr. Kanu, for your time to interact with our investors. Thank you, and hope to host you for the next quarter.
Thank you.
Thank you all.